The Missouri Attorney General has filed a lawsuit seeking to remove the sheriff of St. Louis County. According to the 87-page quo warranto, Sheriff Alfred Montgomery violated Missouri's constitutional prohibition from nepotism by hiring his stepbrother. He unlawfully detained the acting jail commissioner, Tammy Ross, unlawfully detained and unarmed a security guard, failed to transport detainees from the city jail for medical care, unlawfully or fraudulently benefited from the misuse of public resources by having an employee pick up the sheriff's children from school in an office vehicle, and failed to responsibly manage the finances of his office. Sheriff Montgomery refutes the allegations and is refusing to step down. Scandal has plagued the sheriff during his tenure. Allegations that the sheriff made a deputy roll dice to determine whether or not he would be fired, the sheriff refused to assign sufficient deputies for courthouse security and for transporting in need of medical care were also raised in a letter by a nonprofit transparency organization. More recent reporting has determined that despite $630,000 over budget, Montgomery has authorized new uniforms, golf carts, and a Tahoe for the department. St. Louis County isn't the only one having problems with one of their top law enforcement officials. In San Mateo County, California, Sheriff Christina Corpus has now been formally indicted by a civil grand jury of willful or corrupt misconduct. The allegations include 1 count of conflict of interest and 3 counts of retaliation. The conflict of interest allegation pertains to the hiring of former executive director of administration who reportedly had a close personal relationship with the sheriff. The retaliation charges pertain to the firing of the assistant sheriff, the transfer of another deputy, and the arrest of a third. Importantly, these charges are civil in nature, not criminal. On a separate front against the sheriff, the Board of Supervisors unanimously voted to remove her, though she is appealing their decision. The vote of the board followed a report by a retired judge who had been hired to investigate the sheriff. The judge found that the sheriff had engaged in nepotism, retaliation, intimidation, false arrests, and had made racial and homophobic slurs. These two are in, of course, addition to the case of former Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez, who we did an earlier episode on. Lopez is facing multiple charges for involvement in a massive Central Florida gambling operation. I know it seems we live in a post-shame society, and maybe we do. Certainly we cannot hope that people will do the right thing on their own, even people who hold positions of trust in our community. It is my hope, however, that we learn from these cases, that we make it easier to remove public officials for their malfeasance, that we hold them to account. We should not be waiting for an election to toss a bum out on their ear, especially those local officials who have so much sway over our lives. There's a silent epidemic in this country with law enforcement. We've been doing episodes a while for you guys, and over we see sheriffs who do not believe that they're accountable to the law. Whether it's the one in Alabama, the one in California, the one in Florida, over and over again we see sheriffs who have God complexes raining on us all. I don't know where this is coming from, if this is the Trump administration, if this is the political tides that we're seeing. But we have to hold these people to account. They work for us. They do not work for themselves. They are not lords of their own domain. They are to operate within the confines of the law. On the one hand, it should make you sick. It makes me sick. It makes the staff here at America's Lawyers sick. That these people exist, that they're operating with impunity, and that the efforts to hold them to account are expensive and time-consuming. However, on the other hand, it's good that they're being held to some account, that mechanisms are in place and they're going after these people. It is my hope that as these cases move forward, it makes it easier to hold the next person account. As the old saying goes, all politics are local. Your voice matters, mostly in your local community. Get involved, be heard, vote.